Hello folks, my name is Mark and this is Why I Hate the World. How you guys doing? So let's jump right into it. First off, we have the bridge collapse in Miami. This is all over the news now, so I'm sure you're all aware of it. It was a prefabricated bridge that they set up at Florida State University, and the whole thing collapsed, fell on, there was, cars, traffic underneath it, and so far 6 people have been killed. But they don't know. They're still digging out, as of this recording, they're still digging out cars and stuff, and already lawsuits are flying. And yeah, man, it's messed up. I mean, the thing is, me personally, I don't really have much to add to that. I'm sure you've all seen much better, analyses of this. And the only thing I can really say is, this is a good case of why regulations are a good thing. If you can imagine like a world where there were no laws regarding construction and that kind of thing, you'd have this, bridges and buildings and walls and shit like this collapsing all over the place. And there's a reason why we have, this is what a government is for. A government is, supposed to regulate stuff like this so that you don't have bridge collapses like this kind of thing. So, and that's really the only thing that, it kind of sucks to just, make an entire video just to make one point like that and then, relate it to like politics when like people are dead and shit. So it's like, that's why it's in this video instead of its own standalone video. Anyway, but yeah, that's messed up. I hope, I hope the people who were responsible get held responsible, and hope there's no further loss of life. And it's fucked up, man. What are you gonna do? More stuff in the news. A few months ago, the Cheddar Man. If you guys haven't heard about this, the Cheddar Man is the Britain's oldest complete skeleton, and supposedly is about 10,000 years old. And it turns out that the Cheddar Man had dark skin, and this triggered a bunch of alt-right people over in Britain because, the early inhabitants to the British Isles weren't white. Well, that fits with the established understanding of migration patterns out of Africa, doesn't it? I mean, we know that human beings originated in Africa, and we know that they migrated out in waves and eventually hit, Europe and stuff like that, where over the course of thousands of years, evolution continues on, and, some parts of the world, different skin changes and stuff like that. I mean, if you think about it, the white skin is like an evolutionary adaptation to a lack of sunlight. It makes it easier for you to create vitamin D in lower amounts of sunlight, right? And it makes perfect sense that the first inhabitants to the British Isles would have dark skin. But, the alt-right people can't handle that kind of thing because they're fucking crybabies, right? And they don't like the fact of, black people being their ancestors and shit. Some of them even go as far as to, like, create a Europe, out of Europe model of human evolution, which has been debunked for like over 100 years and shit. But whatever, crybaby's gonna cry. Right. What else we got? Amelia Earhart's remains have been found. That's kind of fucking crazy. Apparently, there were some bones which were discovered on an island something like 60 years ago, back in like the 40s, but they didn't know who it was. And advanced forensic techniques have determined that they belong to Amelia Earhart, which is like, wow, if that's really true, then holy shit, mystery solved. I mean, Amelia Earhart is like, that mystery is right up there with like, the bones of Jimmy Hoffa and the corpse, like what happened to Jimmy Hoffa and D.B. Cooper and all that stuff, like the case of Amelia Earhart is like, world famous, right? The mystery surrounding that. So, yeah, I mean, that's crazy. If that really is her, then that's, wow. Yeah, that's like a historic moment right there. I'm not really sure if they can even really confirm that, can they get DNA from these bones? I don't know. But that's something that I'm going to be following. Let's see, more news. This kind of links into a few videos that I did last month. A teacher in high school, Seaside High School in Monterrey County, in California, accidentally fired a gun in the classroom while he was giving a gun safety lesson. Oh my god, I mean, we were just talking about guns in schools and teachers having guns and that kind of thing, and a law just got passed in Florida where they're going to start arming teachers, which is, once again, the stupidest fucking idea ever. Please see my other two videos on that subject. And lo and behold, just to kind of drive that point in just a little more, this shit happens. Luckily nobody died. The bullet hit the ceiling and then fragments hit a kid in his neck and he was like wounded. So apparently the bullet fragments fucked this kid up and he was bleeding out of his neck. But there were no fatalities. First off, I gotta wonder, like, why was this guy teaching a gun safety lesson in school anyway? Why do you need a real gun for that? Can't you use like a fake gun, just for fucking safety lessons? I mean, obviously this guy doesn't know, this is just I'm sure he knows what he's doing. Apparently this teacher was like a 17-year veteran or some shit like that, and he has he's like highly trained and he knows how to handle a weapon. And it just kind of goes to show that anybody, doesn't matter how much training you have, doesn't matter how careful you are. I'm sure this guy was being very careful, and it just it goes to show that accidents happen. Shit happens and you can't control it, and if you're going to have firearms in the classroom, then you're going to see accidents and kids are going to die. So all of you people out there in Florida who fucking supported this shit and you're happy that it passed, when kids start getting killed in your fucking classrooms, you got nobody but yourself to blame. Let's hope that doesn't happen, but it will. Fucking idiots, man, seriously. More news. The Pharma Bro gets 7 years. Alright, so if you don't know who this guy is, Martin Shkreli, I think his name. And he was kind of thrown into the spotlight last year when he raised the price of a drug, Daraprim. He raised it from $13 a pill to $750 a pill. Daraprim, I think it's an HIV drug. So basically, this guy, he got busted for securities fraud, and he's going to prison, and everybody's happy. So please keep in mind that he's not going to prison for jacking the price up on a necessary life-saving drug by 5,000%. He's not going to prison for that. He's going to prison for ripping off rich people. That's what he's going to prison for. So that just kind of illustrates what we really care about in our society. We don't give a shit about people who are dying, but we do give a shit about taking money from people who already have millions of dollars. Unfucking real. I mean, not that he shouldn't go to prison, but he should have went to prison for the other thing first. Okay? I mean, can we do that? Can we start caring about people in our fucking society, please? Jesus Christ. More stupid news. A church run by the son of the late Reverend Sun Jun Moon held this religious ceremony where parishioners prayed and made vows to their firearms. That kind of made me, it's like, what? I just looked that up. There's video on that. These people come to this church and they're dressed in wedding attire. In fact, I think even the men were wearing gowns, they're all wearing gowns and they have fucking wreaths and shit. And they have their assault guns, their rifles and shit. And they're fucking making vows to them, they're marrying their guns. It's what the fuck? I don't know. I mean, so Sun Jun Moon was the leader of the Moonies, which was this weird-ass, bizarre Christian cult where he would do things like hold mass marriages and shit like that, And so it looks like his son is kind of following in his father's footsteps, and yeah, okay. I mean, I don't know. It just kind of blows. It's just weird, I guess. Yeah, you want to marry your gun, whatever. Who am I to say what you can and you can't do, right? But I don't know. It's just weird, and it just kind of just, I mean, our fucking morals are fucked up in this country. On the one hand, we got children being blown away in the classroom. On the other hand, we have assholes fucking bringing their guns to church and fucking singing fucking hymns to him and crap. It's like, I don't know. Let's see. More news. Britain doesn't allow 2 American white nationalists to enter their country. So there's a world famous, well, not world famous, but there's a pretty semi-famous Twitter troll named Brittany Pettibone, who's an alt-right white nationalist piece of fucking garbage. And she has a boyfriend named Martin Shkreli. And they're just basically, white nationalist fucking trash. And they were turned away from Britain. They weren't allowed to go in to enter the country of Britain. And then also Lauren Southern was also denied, which if you don't know who Lauren Southern is, Lauren Southern at least, tries to hide her racism and stuff, like she still is like throwing out the code words and things. She doesn't straight out say it most of the time, from what I can tell. She's still kind of like semi-conscious of the fact that if you're just like a fucking crazy xenophobic bigot, that people will like react bad to you. These other 2 people, I don't know, they seem like pieces of shit, but Lauren Southern at least can like plausibly deny her racism, even though just watch a couple of her videos and see for yourself. And apparently Tucker Carlson went on his show and defended these fucking assholes. I don't know. I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with Britain not allowing people they know who are going to cause trouble into their country. Like, why are those people there? Why are they going to Britain? On vacation? No, not really. I think they were actually going there to meet with representatives of Britain First, which is like a far right-wing, group that they're the people that like supported Brexit and, they're anti-Muslim, that kind of thing. They've been linked with hate crimes, right? So it's like, yeah, it's kind of like us not allowing, like, I don't know, known Nazis to enter the country. I guess that's good. Or another thing would be like if a drug dealer tried to enter the country, like El Chapo and shit, tried to like come to the United States on vacation. We would just tell them to fuck off. I see nothing wrong with that. I think Britain, did make the right decision because fuck these people. That's why, right? You don't want to get turned away at the border. Don't be a racist fucking piece of fucking garbage, right? That's the thing is that people always say shit like, oh, you're free speech and you're people are allowed to have opinions and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, you are allowed to have opinions. You're allowed to have whatever. You're allowed to believe whatever the fuck you want to believe. But you can't force other people out there who disagree with you to interact with you. And that includes entire fucking nations. So, fuck them, too bad for them. Sad day. Let's see. And let's end this off with some Trump ridiculousness. A whole lot of people in the last month have left the Trump administration. I went over some of these in my other video, but let's just do a quick recap. Rob Porter resigned. He was a wife beater, right? Didn't have security clearance. I'm sure you've heard about that. Jared Kushner, he has not left yet, but he still doesn't have security clearance. Please keep in mind Jared Kushner is supposed to be handling the Middle East peace process and everything that has to do with like Asia, right? Basically, Jared Kushner is like doing everything that Trump doesn't feel like doing. He's like, he'll take care of it. My son-in-law will go and he'll solve the Middle East crisis and he'll make trade deals with China and all this other shit. And it's like, oh God, we can make an entire video out of that. But anyway, so all this guy is doing all this shit without having security clearance. It's like, our government is fucked up. Who else? Hope Hicks resigned one day after an 8-hour testimony to the House Intelligence Committee where she admitted that she lies for the administration, so she's gone. Then Trump fired Rex Tillerson. I'm sure you all heard about that. And then just the other day, he fired the Deputy Director, Andrew McCabe, who is the Deputy Director of the FBI. And it looks like that he's gearing up to fire Robert Mueller. So, what is that? 5-6 people in just the last 30 days? That's like one every 5 days. And then if he fires Mueller, then the shit's on. Seriously, man, that's time. That's when it's time to rise up with the pitchforks and take to the streets and start, fucking demanding that they do something. Right. And I think it's pretty much clear. I mean, Lindsey Graham has basically come out and threatened Trump, saying that, you fire Robert Mueller and it's the end. We're going to impeach you and shit. And so I don't know. I don't know if he's going to fire Robert Mueller. I think really he's just trying to discredit him. And I don't think it's going to work this time. I don't know. We'll see how that happens, It's just kind of like shit is starting to crest. It's starting to come to a head. And, I don't know. Is Trump going to get out of it unscathed? I fucking hope not. Anyway, let's end with some more stupid Trump news. Trump does a 360 on gun control in 48 hours. So if you remember after the school shooting last week, I like how I can say that and not be specific, and it's still relevant, because we have one every fucking week now. Anyway, Trump basically had this meeting where he said that he came out in support of gun control and background checks and stuff like that and banning assault rifles. And, he was deriding other Republicans for being beholden to the, NRA and stuff like that. And then, within 48 hours, they were already walking that back, right? Once he got the blowback from his base, he already walked that shit back. And lo and behold, Congress didn't do shit. Congress didn't pass a goddamn thing. There was just a bunch of shit talking and nothing actually happened. So it's like, even when the president of the United States goes, because that's what happened, right? Trump went with his gut reaction. See, Trump doesn't think. The guy doesn't think about shit. He just repeats what he hears on TV and what he hears other people say. So he heard somebody say that, universal background checks are good and the Republicans are being controlled by the NRA. And then he just repeated it. And then some people came in there and set him straight. And now he's just repeating what they said. It's like in one ear, out the other. He's a fucking robot. So that's it. But it's just funny. It just, illustrates once again that Trump really doesn't believe in anything. And he really doesn't have any stances on anything, besides fucking illegal immigrants. Right. And one last thing. Trump claims he would run into a school shooting unarmed, which is 100% complete, total, utter grade A bullshit. No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't run into a fucking... it's like... I think that's just really, really illustrates the kind of guy that he is, that he would just make up some shit like that. Ridiculous. It's like the self-aggrandizing kind of, oh yeah, well if I was there I would have kicked his ass. I mean, that's what losers say. That's basically it. It's like, oh well, if I was there I would have jumped. You ever hear somebody, a friend of yours or something, tell a story about how they got their ass kicked, or how their home was robbed, or how they got in a fight or something, and then whatever, and then your other friend goes, man, that's fucked up, I wish I was there, I would have punched him in the fucking face and then curb stomped, and it's like, dude, shut the fuck up. You wouldn't have done shit. You wouldn't have done anything. That's like how children think. And I know this because I've done the same thing. That's the thing, all men do this. You put yourself in that position and then you imagine yourself being like a fucking action hero. And suddenly you're fucking Bruce Willis and Die Hard and shit, running through the corridors, fucking, drop kicking dudes and snapping people's necks with your bare hands and all that other stuff. And it's just bullshit. No one runs into a fucking building where there's an active shooter unarmed. Even if he was armed, he wouldn't have done it, because that's the job for the fucking police. Unreal. You can't put yourself in a position you can't say, unless you've been there, unless you're a cop, unless you're a soldier, unless you've actually been under fire, you can't say what you would and what you wouldn't do. All right. And it's just childish is what it is. It just shows that he's a fucking child. He's a child and a fucking embarrassment. I don't know. I like how all of these videos ultimately end up with me calling Trump a fucking name. God damn. I wish we could... I just can't wait. until his ass gets impeached or gets fired or has a heart attack or something, whatever, retires, you know, fucking resigns in shame, whatever it is. I hope this shit happens soon because I'm getting sick of talking about his ass. Anyway, I don't know. Adios, folks. That's all I got.